Lie, lie, lie. Real easy. Lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Same thing. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Ya la lie, ya la la lie. Ya la lie, 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 lie. Ya la lie, 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 lie. Ya la lie, ya lie, lie, lie. Ya la lie, 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 lie. La la lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Yai, die, 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 yai, die, 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 die. Yai, die, 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 die. Yai, die, 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 yai, die, die, yai, die, yai, die, die, die. Ya da die, yai, die, die, die. Ya da die, 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 die. Ya da die, 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 die. Ya da die, yai, die, die, die. Ya da die, 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 die. Ya da die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Yai, die, die, die. Yai, die, die, yai, die, die. Yai, die, 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 die. Yai, die, 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 yai, die, 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 die.
It is so good to welcome Cantor Hyman back home after he's been serving our Reformed Jewish movement at summer camp for 2 weeks, and he survived, more than survived, no doubt.
1 or 2 bug bites, but I'm okay.
If that's the worst of it, right? Yes, all right. So how wonderful to be joined by Cantor Hyman and Rabbi Friedman and our congregational President Hank Bernstein to welcome you all here in person and welcome you all here online and say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's please be sure to be among community. Please take this moment to add your name or introduction or greeting into the comments online or in the sanctuary to turn around and find someone new to greet.
Is that how it works? Like you need to. They bring like
All right, it's good to feel the friendly energy. To kindle our Shabbat lights, we welcome Daniel Wolfson and Diana Gonzalez Gandolfi as we turn to page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kadishanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu lahadok ner el shel Shabbat.
Amen.
And we turn to page 5 for our Shabbat Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
One of the many reasons I feel lucky to have found this path of the rabbinate, this work as a rabbi, is that I have shpilkes. You know what this means? There's no good translation. What's a good translation?
Ants in the pants.
Ants in the pants, as lovely as that sounds. That may be the best we can do. Shpilkes is ants in your pants, right. And as it turns out, you might not know this, but there's really maybe never, almost never a time when as a rabbi I'm not allowed to stand up, right? At any point, nobody would complain if I'm standing. There are times I really shouldn't sit, like if the ark is open, but really at any time I'm allowed to sort of get up and move around. And this is a good thing for somebody with the shpilkes. Aren't we all? Maybe, but I don't know. As an accountant, did you have the same freedom? Oh, certainly. Really? Well, you took it. You took it. Nobody made you sit, I'm sure. But it does work for me. And so, especially actually in Jewish prayer, there is actually tradition around movement, around embodying prayer, and particularly in Kabbalat Shabbat, the psalms, the songs that begin our Friday evening Shabbat service. Our sages would, during these opening Kabbalat Shabbat songs, would sway and clap. And then for the final Kabbalat Shabbat song, Lecha Dodi, would actually dance their way out into the forest to welcome Shabbat. In particular, the mystics had that forest tradition. And that's the root of our own tradition in many synagogues today of dancing during Lecha Dodi, that final song in Kabbalat Shabbat, and of rising for that final verse of Lecha Dodi and facing the back of the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat then. And also to dance or to clap or to sway or just to sing out during those psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. The embodiment is part of how we experience Jewish prayer. And really our voice too. Thank you for reminding me of that point, exactly. And so tonight, I welcome us to think about how you might feel prayer in your body, how you might embody prayer as a whole experience. And so, to begin with our breath, we take a deep breath and release, turning from the rigidity of the week to the joyful expression of Shabbat. We turn to Kabbalat Shabbat songs starting on page 13 with Yismachu Hashamayim.
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. יירם הים, יירם הים, יירם הים ומלואו. 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 ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ.
On page 331, we continue with Shir Hamalot.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, umevorach. Shabbat Shalom umevorach. Shir Hamalot B'shu Adonai Et Shivat Zion Hayinu kechomim. Az yemale schok pinu ulshonenu rina. Az yomru v'goyim higdil Adonai la'asot imele. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Perhaps even feeling it in our bodies, we welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21.
Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה
Please rise.
בואי ושלום עצרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה.
Turning to page 28, we continue with our call to worship.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam va'ed Yala la 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 Yala la la la.
In the middle of page 30, together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzebaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Baruch Ata Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Page 32.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadta Otanu limadta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu Uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha Uv'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla Nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu leolamim Baruch Ata Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Page 36. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On top of page 39, together, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך באלים אדוני.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Page 46, please rise.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, Umatir asurim, umkayem emunato, lishene afar, michamocha baal gevurot, umito melach, melech memit, umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. On the top of page 55, together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We take these moments for silent prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
In a moment, we will be on page 4 in our service program for our prayer for healing. This Shabbat has a special name. It is, right? Which one do you have?
I have this one.
Which one do I have?
I don't know.
What do you all have on page 4?
We could switch it up.
All right. He's got something different. Who knows? It's a surprise. All right. Glad to know what we have.
Oh, okay.
All
We'll
right.
try that. Okay, we could do it, repeat after me.
All right. So
think
we
we-
won't be on page 4. You'll just follow him.
be-
But first, just a word. This week's Torah portion is, this week's Haftarah portion is a special one. It's known as Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbat of comfort. We are comforted after last week, remembering Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, the destruction of the temple. And actually, the next 7 weeks are known as the 7 weeks of comfort, in which we read special haftarot, special additional readings from the prophets, which seek to comfort us as we approach the High Holy Day season. And the prophet Isaiah says these words, Nachamu, Nachamu et ami, comfort, comfort, O my people. I was thinking about comfort this week, and actually comfort that came from another Isaiah, a 12-year-old boy named Isaiah Jarvis. Some of you might have heard during the Little League World Series in a semifinal game between Oklahoma and Texas. Little Isaiah Jarvis was hit by a pitch pretty hard in the head and immediately fell to the ground. The pitcher who threw the pitch was, of course, understandably, incredibly upset. Thankfully, Isaiah got up. He was okay. And then he started heading towards the mound. Now, anyone who's been to an MLB professional baseball game knows that when a hit batter starts heading to the mound, it doesn't mean something good. It may be a fight's about to break out. Little Isaiah walks to the mound. He sees how upset this pitcher was, and he gives him a hug. It's one of the most beautiful things, and this was broadcast on ESPN to the whole country to see this moment of true comfort and compassion. I was thinking about how we all have the power, even when we're suffering in physical or spiritual pain, to offer comfort to our loved ones with just a simple hug. And so, as we prepare to sing our blessing of healing, we take a moment to think of all of those in our lives in need of healing. If there's someone who you're holding in your heart tonight, I invite you to write their names in the comments or to speak their names aloud at this time.
So the chorus that we're going to repeat over and over again are the words uttered when Moses learned of his sister Miriam being afflicted with skin disease. We'll call it leprosy, Mitzora. He cried out and said, El na rifana la, which is a formal way of saying, please God, heal her. El na rifana la. El na rifana la, rifana lanu. Lanu meaning us, all of us. El na rifana la, rifana lanu. Here's the repeat after me part. Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to
El
all
na,
our
El
days.
na, refana la, refana lanu. El na, refana la, refana lanu. Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our minds.
Help clarify our minds.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our light.
Rejuvenate our life.
El na refana la, refana lanu. El na refana la, refana lanu. Thank you for all these blessings
Thank you for all these blessings.
throughout our days and nights.
Through all our days and nights,
We celebrate the journey,
we celebrate the journey.
this precious gift of life.
This precious gift of life.
El na refana la, refana lanu. El na refana la, refana lanu. El na refana la, refana lanu. El na refana la, refana lanu.
Amen. Our thoughts now move, as is often in life, from thoughts of healing to thoughts of joy and celebration as we prepare to sing our blessing of gratitude, the Shehechianu, thanking God for giving us life, for sustaining us and enabling us to reach this moment in time. And I hope that this is a wonderful moment in time for all of us, and you can all think of at least one good thing that you're thankful for this week. And if you're on the live stream, we'd love it if you'll share with us. Please tell us what's going on in your lives. And here in person, we want to hear from you as well. Jane, what's going on?
Nancy Owen is coming home on Thursday.
Wonderful. Oh,
My friends for helping me get through this.
oh, that is so, so wonderful. And I love that there's that gratitude to the community and to everyone. And we're so excited to see Ben Sion back at services soon. I don't know how we can dance the Chadodi without him, you know, although you all did a pretty good job. What else? Anyone else? Stephen, our wonderful membership manager. What are you celebrating? Mazel tov. Mazel tov to you and to Todd. Oh, so, so wonderful. We are so excited and look forward to lots more celebrations coming next year. Anyone else? What else are folks celebrating? Anyone else here? Yeah, Ann Sue. 50 years. Wow. And so wonderful to have family to celebrate with you. Mazel tov to you and to David, to 50 more. Fred. Wow, that is amazing. Mazel tov to you and to Craig and a Shechianu for that awesome new mustache too. Love it. Looks great. That is yeah. Tid Chadesh. There we go. Yes, exactly. Well, we have two more wonderful simchas, wonderful joys that we are celebrating tonight, and that is two more amazing people who have entered the covenant between God and the Jewish people and chosen of their own free will to become Jews. And so I'm so honored to welcome Nephi Richardson and Michael Stevenson to come join us on the bima and invite the congregation to please rise. All right. Come on up. Nephi, you want to go first? All right. Come on up with me, Nephi. Beautiful. We're going to go right up here, and Michael, you can hang. Yeah, exactly, right here. Michael and Nephi were both in our Introduction to Judaism class this past year, and actually a nice little plug that we have starting next week, a wonderful Taste of Judaism class, a smaller version. Come on all the way up. And you can talk to Stephen if you're interested. But they have been wonderful, both of them separately, wonderful students of Torah, and what a joy it is to be here now. Nephi, you stand before the open ark and before the commanding presence of the Torah, the Jewish people's most cherished treasure. It has led us on our way and guided us ever since we received it at Sinai. I'll now place the Torah into your arms as you take it into your heart. Got it? All right. You are known by the name Nephi, which means you're always linked in love to those who gave you life. And from this time forth, you shall also be known within our Jewish community as Shoshana, Bat Avraham Vasara. And this beautiful name Shoshana, which means a lily or a rose, I know is a tribute and a connection to your grandmother, and what a way of honoring her memory. May this name bring respect and honor to the Jewish people. We rejoice to welcome into our midst one who willingly and devotedly helps replenish the ranks of our people. As we've done throughout the ages, I ask God's blessing upon you now. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence be with you always and grant you the most precious gift, the gift of peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Mazel tov. And we'll remain standing. And Nephi, if you want to make your way down there. And now I welcome Michael to come join us. And I should say, Nephi is here with her partner, Alex. Mazel tov to you. And Michael, you are here with, I think you have an entire row. And it's just wonderful to see you supported by your partner, Amanda, as well as your entire family, who all came in from so far away. And to be here with you is really absolutely beautiful. And so, Michael, I'll place the Torah now into your arms as you take it into your heart. And you are known by the name Michael, which means that you are always linked in love to those who gave you life. And from this time forth, you shall also be known within our Jewish community as Akiva, ben Avraham Vasara. And this beautiful name, Akiva, after our famous sage, Rabbi Akiva from the first century. And you talked about this beautiful story, the oven of Achnai, both of our favorites. As many people know, I've taught it many times. But the end of the story, which I often don't get to actually when I teach it, when Rabbi Akiva has to deliver some pretty tough news to his mentor, his teacher, Rabbi Eliezer, and he does it with such compassion and such comfort. And you really saw that in Akiva and wanting to bring comfort and compassion into this world as well. And you do, and it's such a beautiful model. Akiva also, as we know, didn't start studying Torah until he was 40 years old. So I think you guys got a couple years on him, so you're doing pretty well. May this name bring respect and honor to the Jewish people. We rejoice to welcome into our midst one who willingly and devotedly helps replenish the ranks of our people. As we have done throughout the ages, I ask God's blessing upon you now. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence be with you always and grant you peace. Ken yehi ratzon. May this be God's will. Amen. For these simchas and so many more, we join together in gratitude. Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higi'anu lazman
Please be seated.
As I walk this journey of a life, I feel more and more aware of how I am existing between many different worlds. Since I was in high school, I was keenly aware of social groups based on commonalities and tendencies. And like a chameleon, I've always been able to change and morph quite comfortably into someone who is acceptable in most communities, which is also a great survival tactic in stressful and challenging situations and encounters. But it's also acceptable as an approach towards tolerance with respect to authenticity. I could be very selective and only associate with those groups that were most closely aligned with my inner compass and core values. This ensures I was not in groups that are harmful or hateful, or those that use exclusivity as a means solely for division and ultimately isolation. Even within the study and practices of Judaism, we find there are varying degrees of core values, and thankfully, I am able to live and work in a place that is so strongly pillared on what is most important for me and my family. It is so clear to me how great Rodef Shalom is, especially when I step away and visit other places. When I step outside of my home and community as your representative, I'm delighted to report that there are many places that are wonderful, receptive, and full of intention, and that are nurturing the best parts of existing within something greater than oneself, but not also excluding oneself. What does it mean to state up front that you are a community with core values? For some of us, we do this without having it printed on our t-shirts or bumper stickers. We just know how being here makes us feel. For other places, there is great worth in being able to see those values written out and explained. For 2 weeks, I was deep embedded within URJ's Creative Arts Academy, a summer camp experience like none I have ever experienced before in all of my 40 summers at one camp or another. CAA is a direct response to considering what it might be like if we took extra time to focus on our talents and passions during the summer, and all the while, if we were still clearly at camp with bunks and counselors and campfires and unifying cheers and even really good institutional food to sustain us. Here are the CAA core value blessings, or in Hebrew, they are known as midot, created by the dedicated faculty. Number 1, creativity, or yitzirah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehenik banu yecholet litzur mi nishmatenu. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who endows in us the ability to create from our essence. We are all artists, and many artists draw heavily from our ability to recognize the wonders all around us and to bring them closer to the very front of our senses. Number 2, curiosity, or sakranut. Baruch atah Adonai, hamkasher otanu al yedei she'elot. Blessed are you who connects us through questions. If you don't understand something, finding the courage to ask questions of ourselves and our peers is a great first step towards wisdom. Therefore, celebrating and reconnecting with that curiosity is so important. Number 3, grit, or ometz lev. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten koach lehitgaber al pechadim v'lirdof chalomot. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives us strength to overcome fears and pursue dreams. Stepping into something new takes courage, with or without any prior knowledge or expectations. I'm finding that even when we know as much as we do know, there is still always something to learn and experience. It takes an extra step towards understanding, often outside of our comfort zone, and it's made easier with grit. Number 4, collaboration, which is shiluv. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shem shalev trumatenu ke'echad. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who combines our offerings into one. Judaism is best practice in a community. We can do so many things well on our own, and within the artistic world, being original is an extra prize to be displayed. But coming at a task with shared vision and shared energy can not only move steadily closer to the desired results, but it can open it up to all the people we collectively know and interact with. Think of the ways, for example, COVID research was made available to multiple agencies because of the secrets that were shared to unlocking the mysteries, and it was shared freely by everyone. It should not and cannot be all about monetary gain, but making this world better for all and by all. Number 5, and there are only 6. Number 5, craftsmanship or malacha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shemilei otanu b'chokhmah, b'tvuna, u'v'da'at, u'v'chol malacha. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who fills us with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all manners of craftsmanship. Nothing made by our hands, including our hands, is perfect. As the Dan Nichols song teaches us, we are all beautiful and a little broken too. The opportunity to work on something and make it better or differently than we had the first time is to recognize the discipline that goes into the work. For example, when a sushi chef is accepted as an apprentice, they work steadily on one task for as long as it takes to master that aspect until it is time to move on to another task. A chef may be assigned to preparing sushi, or the rice, for years before moving on to anything having to do with the fish. At CAA, we look for and celebrate the work just as much as the finished product. And finally, number 6, the value you bring yourself, leave chor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani kefi she'ani. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me to be me. As the late Fred Rogers has taught us all for many years, you are a very special person. There is only one like you in the whole world. There's never been anyone exactly like you before, and there will never be again. Only you. And people can like you exactly as you are. We all want to be liked, but it must begin with our ability to look within ourselves for the bits that we know absolutely we want others to know about so that we can share them. Also, we must be brave in our willingness to share those bits that might be exactly what the person standing or sitting next to you has desired all along. Rabbi Lawrence Kushner famously wrote in 1970 the following message: each lifetime is the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. For some, there are more pieces. For others, the puzzle is more difficult to assemble. Some seem to be born with a nearly completed puzzle, and so it goes. Souls going this way and that, trying to assemble the myriad parts. But know this, no one has within themselves all the pieces to their puzzle. Like before the days when they used to seal jigsaw puzzles in cellophane, ensuring that all the pieces were there. Everyone carries with them at least one, probably many pieces to someone else's puzzle. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't. And when you present your piece, which is worthless to you, to another, whether you know it or not, whether they know it or not, you are a messenger from the Most High. In other words, you are important to how things end up. And it could very well be because of you that our world knows more love and more harmony. So share as much as you are able with anyone. I am fortunate to have time and resource dedicated to enabling me to enter this immersive world of summer camp and to be able to share with participants and colleagues alike. I'm also able to recognize what I can offer to a community when I accept both risk and challenge as opportunity. We can momentarily be made vulnerable, but my fellow faculty member, Susan Berg, who is an educator and a consultant from Toronto, summed it up best by reminding us at the last shared meal that we all came to camp with many kinds of unanswered thoughts about what might happen at camp. But the one thing she did not have to worry about was how committed we all were towards supporting and uplifting a community, no matter how momentary or new. We are all inherently knowing how important each of us were to each other, and that a lot of the lifting is done standing united, just like we do for the Amidah. We may sing different melodies, but the message is the same. We honor those who came before us best by building for those who come after. In the coming weeks leading up to the High Holy Days, I hope that we are reunited with those core values that you recognize and uplift in yourselves and those you surround yourself with. I hope you feel your burden lightened by sharing the weight with your families and your community. I hope you know how important you are to this world in general, but also to me. Even if we have only briefly met or if we work side by side daily, I am only as successful as those I work with. Finally, may you possess the courage to tell others what you need from them, and may you have the capacity to consider how you can still give more when you are aware of the great need. Our community works because of all of you. Shabbat Shalom.
Amen. Yasher Koach. We turn back in our prayer book now to pages 282, followed by 287 for Aleinu. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. The words of Chana Senesh. Yesh kochavim. There are stars. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. This week, our congregation observes Yartzeit for Robert M. Alper, Samuel Alper, Earl P. Apfelbaum, Jean Baruch, Leon L. Berkowitz, Nathan Blumberg, Louis Brody, Ralph T. Buxbaum, Thomas Bono, Helen R. Conkers, Bertha Davidson, Victor Diamond, William J. Eisen, Chaim Feldman, Hannah Field, Anna Elizabeth Fogel, Rosetta Lowenstein Frank, Josephine B. Freed, Crane again, Elaine Gitlow, William S. Grass, Ruth Green, Shirley Emily Hers, Joseph H. Hinlin, Sylvia Holtzman, J. Herman Jacobs, Judith Jamison, Samuel Cates, Philip Kaufman, Hess Klein, Leonard Klein, Joseph Koch, Mitchell D. Cohn, Hedda Cummins, Ida Koppelman, Joseph N. Kotzen, Israel Krieger, Helene R. Levy, Phyllis Lieberman, Dorothy Savoy Litto, Mary Master, Addie Teller Mayer, Deborah Meiselman, Julius Mintz, Lester J. Moses, Charlene Odell Kelly, Milton H. Pagel, Martin Potashnik, J. S. Ravitsky, Philip Rosenau, Irving Rosenblum, Moses S. Rosenthal, Madeline Wilson Roskam, Mark Rosens, Maurice Saul, Henry M. Salzer, Lillian Schultz, Martha A. Schwartz, Eleanor Siegel, Robert N. Szymanski, Retta White Seidenbach, Ronald Silverman, Stephen Edward Soames, Harry H. Stein, Stella M. Stern, Felix M. Strauss, Caroline Troutman, Morris Ullman, Abraham Waxman, Mary Milou Welschler, Aaron Harry Weinstein, Joseph Weintraub, Bessie Friedman Weiss, David A. Weiss, Sylvia Weiss, Pierce Pat Winthrop, Alice Wolf, Isaiah Wolfson, Rosalind Wolfson, Edna Wallov, Major Rudy Weil, Donna Ray Wyman, Simon Yellen. And we add the names of those who've been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts in these most recent days, for whom we are observing Shaloshim, the 30 days of mourning. Melba Axelrod, Samuel Marion Ephron, Nancy Schreier. If you are observing Yartzeit or Shaloshim for a loved one whose name was not mentioned, I invite you to type their names into the chat or speak their names aloud at this time. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. We turn to page 294 and rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon of yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved among us, and let us say, amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
We wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. If you are new to the congregation and you want to know more, please introduce yourself to the newly engaged Stephen Scher, our membership manager, who's waving in the back. I am reminded this Shabbat, in this season of summer camp, of the words of the Ve'ahavta, which comes from this week's portion, Ve'et Hanan, where we're taught Vishinantam livanecha, that you shall teach these words to your children, but literally from the root of our teeth, shenaim, that we should impress them upon our children. But as Cantor Hyman taught us, and we learned from the Talmud, that creating a community of values is not just one way, and it's everyone teaches together. And we learned from Rabbi Hanina in Ta'anit, where he says, I have learned much from my teachers, more from my colleagues, and the most from my students.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai, panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai, panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and keep us.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's light shine upon us, and may God be gracious unto us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May we feel God's presence within us always, and may we find peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.